as they all journey to the royal capital for the sanctification ceremony. The girls are nervous and scared because of the narrow way they have passed. Licorice is much more scared than her sister, Petra. Pass walks up to her and holds her hand, encouraging her that she doesn't have to be scared, and says they are almost there. She looks at him joyfully and admits that he is much more mature for his age, and although she is the eldest among them, he is more mature than she is. She admits that he should be holding her sister instead of her, and she remembers that she had been very angry at everyone, including her parents, because she feels they could have make her for that marriage instead of her sister. She recalls that she had also been very rude to Pass before. She feels she must have done badly, and she needs to do better. Irrespective of that, Pass takes her hands and walks her towards the last part of the tunnel, where they eventually see a door. They ask him if they will start the sanctification immediately, but he tells them that the sanctification is usually done at the royal capital, where the temple is. He further explains that the priest does the sanctification at the royal capital, so now they have to use his father's teleportation skills to get themselves to the royal capital. They don't understand what he means, but he opens the door before them and tells them they should all hold each other. While everyone holds hands, the maid among them, Kira, is reluctant to join them in holding hands due to the social differences, but Licorice tells her to bring her hands, and they hold hands together. After they hold hands, Pass joins them, and Casserole gathers all the mana around the universe together to get them to teleport. They indeed teleport, and they find themselves at the royal capital. As they arrive, Pass welcomes the girls to the royal capital. He tells them they are at the temple, and that is where the sanctification will take place, and he reassures them to be calm because everything will go as had been planned. They had prior felt there would be a lot of people who would be against a union of the family of a margrave and a duke, and it turns out they aren't wrong. Indeed, a man who heads the family of Armire calls a team of bandits because he wants to destroy the union. Before telling them about their awful mission, he tries to blow their bluff by telling them the mission would help them elevate the family of Armire. It was later found out that Armire has lost his noble ship, and he is struggling and trying to get it back and wants to use the Union to get his shine and get back his noble title. As he tries to tell them about the mission, he claims it will not only elevate their family but will even help him humiliate other families who had humiliated him. The family he is referring to is none other than the family of Cattlesec. The men tell him to go straight to the point and not try to wind them with unnecessary details. They ask him who he wants them to kill, telling him that they are capable and they will do what he wants. He tells them he doesn't want them to kill anyone, and he has no intention to kill. Instead, he wants them to help him kidnap a girl and tells them that if they do that, they will get 10 gold coins. 10 gold coins are too crazy just to kidnap a girl. They feel weird about the work and ask for further details to know if he isn't trying to use them so he can kidnap a noblewoman for himself as a wife. He admits that he indeed wants to kidnap a noblewoman but not as a wife. He tells them there is a lady, Petra Miller-Huberg, the daughter of Margrave Huberg, who is having her sanctification ceremony soon at the royal capital, and she will be getting married to the grandson of Duke Cattlesec. He admits that successfully kidnapping her will be embarrassing to the family of Cattlesec, which means he will get his revenge on the family and, most likely, get his honor back. He begs them that the mission is very important and they should reach it with great caution because it must be successful. The leader of the team tells him that they know their duty, and they will surely do their work. As they are about to leave his room, he tries to call them back in a very unworthy manner, and the boss asks him who he is speaking to in such a manner. He watches them as they leave, and he comments that they are filthy. Well, I wonder why he couldn't say that in their presence. As they get outside, one of the team members asks his boss if he wants them to take the job. He says that the job looks weird, and he really can't clock out what Armire wants to gain from such a kidnap. Their boss explains to them that the job is quite important. Armire seeks to get 2 things. The first thing is that kidnapping the granddaughter-in-law of Duke Cattlesec, who leads and heads a fleet of army successfully, will be nothing but a disgrace to the family, so Duke Cattlesec would not allow them. But if it is achieved, it means Armire will gain another thing. He claims he feels Armire wants to hold the girl captive so that when everyone starts looking for the girl with their capacity to curry favor from the Margrave family, he will bring out the girl and make himself look like the savior that had saved the girl from her captive. That way, he would gain his honor back and most likely gain his noble title, and he will also use that opportunity to get the lady to fall in love with him and most likely marry the girl. The boss concludes his fantasy story by admitting that the story of a hero falling in love with his victim is a love story that is always amazing to the ears. They get to their business immediately. On the other hand, the temple is filled with multiple people. Several warriors try to get to the front line so they will be noticed. Pass wonders why that is happening, and he asks Casserole, who tells him that the union is very powerful and is second to none. It will give the family more power in the city, and several other families want to tap into it and get into their good books. Pass comments that if it were to be their family, they would most likely find anyone by their side, and his father asks him why he had to spell that out to his ears when they both know it. Petra looks so disturbed and tired. Licorice tries to speak to her, asking her if she is fine, and she says she is only nervous. Pass walks into that conversation and tells them that she has every reason to be nervous, but she should be calm because when she eventually meets her fiancé, she will realize the whole process is worth it. And her fiancé, Squall, is a very calm young man and he is truly in love with her, so she doesn't have to worry. She admits that she has also seen the portrait of Squall that Pass has drew and says that Squall looks so handsome and he looks like a real nobleman. She says she can't wait to see him and is very excited. That statement alone makes Pass very excited. He is glad that the entire stress and process which he and his parents has kept into planning that union didn't go to waste. He admits that, indeed, effective planning and preparation will always lead to positive results. He thinks further about it and realizes that even when he was a baker and lover of sweets, he had learned that if he doesn't put proper planning into the things he wants to do, he may not be successful. When he hears the voice of Margrave Hubert calling out for Petra and telling her that it is time for her sanctification, he comes back from his thoughts and concentrates on the job he is there for at the moment. Petra follows her father to the inner part of the temple, leaving Licorice with their maid, Kara, and Fuel enters the room with another man. He tells Casserole that he is just coming from the house of Duke Cattlesec. They ask him how things are in the house of Cattlesec, and he tells them that the house is filled with many people. He admits that several well-wishes are there, and there are also lords of minor fiefs like theirs. He wonders why that is the case, and Casserole gives him the same explanation he had given Pass earlier regarding how important the union is and how all the fiefs lord are trying to curry favor. Fuel tells them that he had left a member of their community, Contro, there to check out what is going on and give them an update later. Casserole tells Pass that he needs him to do him a favor. He points at Licorice and tells Pass that Petra's sanctification process will take a long while, and it is obvious that Licorice is tired of standing there. He asks Petra to take Licorice to the guest room so she can rest, and he should also help her get used to the area better and keep her company. He sees that he doesn't even notice she is bored, so he goes to meet her. He tells her Petra's process will take a while and asks if she would like to rest at the guest house. She goes with him, and Fuel tells him he should ensure they have a good time. Casserole tells Fuel to stop putting bad thoughts in his son's mind. By the way, who else feels there is chemistry between Pass and Licorice? Let me know in the comments section. Armire walks around his home, hoping and thinking about how miserable he will make the Cattlesec. After Petra finishes her sanctification, General Cattlesec sends a senior officer from his house, Venhen, to the temple to fetch Petra. He tells Casserole that he has been sent to get the girl for her engagement, and he takes her. After he leaves, Fuel asks Casserole if they are done with that part, and Casserole tells him that the next thing is getting them home after the engagement. Fuel says he is more concerned about Pass, who is in the same room with Licorice alone, but Casserole tells him he looks more pleased than concerned and says that the kids aren't alone, and they are with a chaperone. He also says Pastry will soon go for her sanctification, so there is no worry. Indeed, Kara is in the same room with the kids. She stands there, and it makes Pass uncomfortable. Pass asks her why she is there and not with Petra, but she says she works for Licorice. He even asks her to sit, but she refuses to do that. She gives him a scary face, and he stands back. He starts talking with Licorice, and suddenly he hears a sound. He asks her if she can hear it too, and before he tries to find out what is happening, they fall into a dark hole. The adults are called by Kara, who is scared that her lady is gone. Casserole tells them they don't have to worry because Pass will protect her. He asks Fuel to go to the house of Cattlesec to get reinforcement while he also jumps into the hole. Pass wakes up in a dark room with his hands tied. He tries to ask the boss why he has been kidnapped, but the boss tells him he has no obligation to tell him why. The boss leaves and asks one of his teammates to stay there. Pass tries to narrow down who could have ordered his kidnap, and to do that, he needs more information. He asks the man if they want to kill him and says he is the son of a noble and he could give them about 200 gold coins if they release him. The conversation fuels that man's interest, and he realizes that money could have been the motive of the kidnap and had been done by a noble. He looks around, and the house looks like that of a noble, but it is unkept, meaning the noble could be one who had been removed from his position for about 10 years. He recalls that they got a list of people who could be trouble for that union, and he thinks about the book and tries to search for the noble there who had been removed for about 10 years. He narrows it down to Armire, writes it on Licorice's scarf, and sends it down the hole to his father. On the other hand, after Casserole gets inside the hole, he can't find a way, so he returns. Fuel returns and tells him General Cattlesec has refused to leave any man, and they think of what to do. They get the letter from Pass, and he swings into action. He tells Fuel to get some men from the engagement while he also takes some men from the men around the temple so they can match Armire's house. Fuel asks him to teleport him to Cattlesec's house at least, and he does so. At the hole in Armire's house, the boss arrives and reveals they had kidnapped the wrong girl, and Armire doesn't want to pay them. He reveals that Petra is a twin and Licorice is her twin. He says he wants to destroy all evidence by killing the kids, but before he hits Licorice, Pass hits him and removes the rope on his hand. Pass takes the sword asking the boss if he wants to surrender, but the boss refuses, so they set out to fight again.